Hello. I've been busy. Wasting my time. Ever since the start of 2026, I have been chipping away at kind of reorganizing this entire space down here and also a lot of other rooms in my house. And I have been feeling amazing about it. Do you ever have something where the layout of your room or whatever, any type of living space is just functional, so that's just how it is for a while, but you know, you just don't really feel great about it? Well, I've been spending a lot of time and money, a lot of money, moving things around, painting walls, buying new furniture, using old furniture in new ways, and buddy, it feels excellent. It's been a pretty productive start of the year so far. This isn't all I've been doing, I swear. But I just kind of wanted to talk about, at the very least, what I've been doing down here in the game room basement area that you all see in Scott The Woz episodes and Scott Stash videos. I just ended up recording a video talking about a lot of the things I've moved around here. But before we get to that, I want to acknowledge three things. One, still a work in progress. There's still a bunch of crap all over the floor. For example, right over here, there's just a rug. This by no means is like, hey guys, check out my new basement. It's more so like, hey, this is what I'm doing with this right now, and I like it. So I just kind of wanted to talk about a lot of the changes that I made. Two, I'm sure if you've kind of followed me for a while, you've heard me yap about my dream game room, and haha, wouldn't you see this? I have it. I really couldn't have all of this without you guys watching throughout the years, because all this stuff in a basement this size, it's a very pricey endeavor, and I am one of the luckiest people in the world, seriously. So thank you very, very much for watching throughout the years. I really appreciate it more than you would ever know, so thank you so much. Third, this is Scott Stash. We have sponsors. Hey, I'll promise you this, I have to talk about this sponsor at the end of the video too, so hey, I'm gonna keep my word for it. You're gonna see a very short message of me thanking the sponsor for sponsoring this video at the end of the video. Hey, don't doubt me. But first, let's hear from me real quick.
That was a great start to the video, Scott. Good job. But don't you think it's missing something? Possibly a sponsorship by Groons, the ultimate nutrition-packed gummy to help you reach your health goals. Groons combines multivitamin, greens gummy, and prebiotic, making it a great choice to help you fill in the gaps of your diet to ensure you're getting all the nutrients your body requires and deserves. It's vegan, nut-free, gluten-free, low sugar. What more could you possibly want? How about a decent taste? That's pretty good. You're kidding. It's that too? I think these are great gummies to eat with loads of health benefits to them. And Groon's gummies undergo a huge amount of testing, ensuring the safest quality product possible. These things are no joke. If you're laughing right now, you are sick. So if you're interested in improving your health, Groon's is great to try out. There's also a kid's version available if you're 2 years old and watching this. Thanks to Groons for sponsoring this video. Get up to 52% off by checking the link below.
We're done with that till the end of the video, but now, this. So the look of this basement has never been my top priority. Once I moved into this house, I kind of just took what worked in my old apartment and just expanded it out with the larger surface area I had down here. Eventually, I upgraded stuff here and there. Most notably, I got taller IKEA shelves. The same IKEA shelves, but taller. And at one point I said, fuck it, and started painting this wall blue. And then a year later, I said, fuck it again, and paid professional painters to make it an actually decent color of blue. Blue walls have kind of been the aesthetic of not only Scott The Woz, but I mean, that goes as far as my old childhood bedroom, and going as far back as like 2006, 2007. Like, yeah, those walls were piss blue. I got weird piss. And something I've learned having a house is gray walls suck ass. You'd think they'd make sense, like, oh wow, what a neutral color. No, it's absolutely one of the most depressing things out there. So I at least got this wall painted blue down here, primarily because this was the wall I decided to f with. The rest of it is still gray, so you know, I gotta figure out if I want the rest of this basement to be this color of blue, which I think is a very nice light kind of blue, or if I want to mix things up a bit, because while this is nice on one wall, it might be a bit much if the entire basement is this color. What I'm getting at here is this basement has always been kind of a work in progress, and I never really prioritized how it looked because I primarily used it not only as my game room, but also filming and also editing. Right over there, I had my work desk set up, and that's where I would edit all day. And eventually, I kind of thought to myself, you know what, Scott? That's probably not great for you. Having everything all in one space sounds like it's a productivity dream. Well, in reality, I think it gave me more excuses to slack off. A really bad habit of mine while editing was getting up to a voiceover part that didn't have corresponding video to it yet. And I thought, okay, well, I need to record a carpet shot for that. The productive thing to do there would be to take note of that and then get all the carpet shots in one go, or a bunch of them in one go, which is what I normally do. But sometimes I think I would just get kind of bored and would want to get up, walk over, do something kind of simple and easy. So instead of taking note of that, I would just get up, walk over, turn on all the filming lights, record the 10-second carpet shot that I needed, take the SD card out, go back to the computer, plug the SD card in, and then import the clip and then put it where it belonged. And then I would rinse and repeat that for a couple more carpet shots instead of just doing it all in one go. So that's just one example of me being the worst. But also, editing here all day just kind of got a little depressing. Yes, I love being surrounded by all of this, but you know what else is good to be surrounded by? Sunlight. And there's very small windows down here. On top of the fact that, like, I don't know, when you're in a basement, you feel like you're in a basement. And doing that all day, in addition to all the other crap I was doing to kind of procrastinate, it all added up to me deciding I want to change things up and move some things around, which started with moving the desk out of here. Over the past month, I've been doing a lot of housework, just trying to format a lot of the rooms in my house in a way that works a lot better for me. My main editing setup is now in a completely different room, which is upstairs and right next to the window. I got a new standing desk, trendy. And while this setup is in a completely different room, I think it really helps me structure my productivity a lot better. Like, I almost feel like working down here so much almost made it so then, like, I had too many options at my disposal as to what I could do to be productive today. I found that one of my biggest problems is that I would still do things that would be productive, but they would kind of be the easiest possible things I could do. Like, if I was thinking like, oh man, I really need gameplay of this game, well, then I would capture gameplay for 2 hours, even though that might not have been the most effective use of my time at that particular moment. But regardless, moving my entire desk setup meant I had all of this space down here. So I definitely had to figure some stuff out, so I just kind of want to go over a lot of the changes that I made down here, which is all still a work in progress. As you can see, yeah, there's all kinds of crap on the floor. But I'm really happy with how things are going so far. One of the most satisfying things about moving all kinds of stuff around in the house is finding a use for things that you've already had, and it actually makes a lot more sense now. For example, earlier this year, I actually upgraded the TV stand to this one from Pottery Barn. The other one I had was falling apart. In fact, when I was moving it out of the way to make way for this one, it just completely fell apart. So yeah, it was time for an upgrade. And Pottery Barn stuff is stupid expensive, but hey, at least from my experience, it's all been like really high quality stuff. But the thing was, it was actually originally 3 units down here. This TV stand is actually 3 separate units, and the way they're designed is that you can just push them together and they look pretty seamless. So I originally had 3 units, but then I looked at this and I thought, well, like the 2 units had space for everything I could possibly want. And I even got the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast plugged in, ready to go. Like, I didn't have those originally like plugged in at all times before, and this unit was already big enough to house those 2. So having a 3rd one, it was just kind of extra empty space at that point. I definitely kept it around as kind of a just in case I get more consoles that I want to set up, or I want to do something else with it, I don't know. But since I was already doing a bunch of stuff around the house and moving things around and getting rooms set up, in my den area, I actually wanted to set up my record player, and I realized, oh man, I might need a furniture piece to set it on. Oh wait! So I ended up wiggling that thing all the way upstairs, and boom, now that's where my record player lies. I still need to set it up, but hey, I got that figured out. I didn't need to buy a new piece of furniture. That was pretty sweet. But for the foreseeable future, I think this unit should have more than enough space for me. That brings us over here, which this used to be where the desk was set up. I originally had a wooden L-shaped desk, which I eventually upgraded to 2 husky workbenches. Hear me out. I've bought a couple of these workbenches and they are just so unbelievably sturdy, and I think my big thing was, this was around the time I was training all of the guys to edit for Scott Stash. So I kind of wanted to figure out what is the best option here to get a bunch of desks, sturdy desks that could house a bunch of computers, a bunch of guys. I settled on workbenches and I'm pretty happy with it. So much so that I decided to actually get 2 of those workbenches for my own actual desk. I've moved on past that lifestyle. I like the extra space. I liked how sturdy the desk was. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a computer desk wobbles a lot, and I think these workbenches were good for what they are. However, the Scott Stash and Blue Border Entertainment editing operations have moved on over to its very own separate office building, which I was very happy with, but eventually it got to a point that there was less and less of a reason for everybody to bring their computer over to my basement every week to do like a communal editing session. That's what we did like every week for like a year and a half or 2 years or so there. So I had all these workbenches set up down here that I kind of need to figure out where they were going. One of them I actually brought into here, which is, you know, the filming room. The initial filming setup I had down here was just like a folding table. So I brought one of the workbenches in here and just made that the new just recording table. Another one I brought over here, which is right behind the couch. This used to be a table that I just bought off of Amazon that was much cheaper and could have fallen apart at any moment. And as you can see, I'll talk about this later, but I kind of added a bunch of crap to this too. So moving one of the workbenches over here was a pretty good upgrade. But I had 2 tables left and I decided to turn that into the new carpet table. And the new carpet table is actually right over here now. Yes, if you didn't already know, this is how all of the carpet shots are done for Scott The Woz and Scott Stash. Sorry, Santa isn't real, life fucking sucks. Why did I move this over here? Well, the initial setup was actually over here. This was something I eventually did. I made it so then these shelves kind of formed a fake wall, and behind this wall was a green screen setup and the carpet table. Now I have transformed it into storage. I ended up putting some of the extra shelves that I had from moving stuff around right here, and this just houses a bunch of boxes that I just don't really have a place for at the moment. And where the carpet table is, this is just a bunch of like Halloween and Christmas stuff. This stuff is more like personal, not really related to video production. This stuff is entirely related to video production. These are my prop shelves, and these were originally in the filming room. All the props are right here, and then a lot of the filming stuff was right here, like the fog machine, fake blood, all that stuff. I ended up deciding to move this stuff because this room is already pretty small and it was already getting just filled to the brim. Having just an entire wall of just nonsense garbage kind of made it very cramped in here, and usually meant the floor was just cluttered with bullshit at pretty much all times. The thing with these shelves is that you can just keep on stacking these shelves and these pillars on top of each other. So this shelf is actually one of the shelves from the filming room plus 2 shelves from one of the other shelves. And then I actually put one of the other shelves in one of my closets upstairs because I was reorganizing that, and I thought one of those shelves would be good to put a bunch of stuff on. I ended up wanting this to be more storage unit area just because it makes more sense. There's more room back here now. Plus, I mean, if I would ever have to access like the breaker for the house, that's right here. And that was always kind of annoying to get past the carpet table, or if I had like an electrician over here, they came downstairs and I had to explain like, yeah, sorry, there's a fucking carpet table in the way of the breaker. This one closet here, I never really knew what to do with. Originally, I put a lot of my extra console boxes in here, and then eventually I decided like, okay, that's lame as hell to just hide all the console boxes. I might as well put them all around the basement, you know, actually put them on top of the shelves, display them. So right now I decided to turn this closet into kind of just like throwing stuff that I bought for Scott The Woz, Scott Stash stuff that I have not put on the shelf yet or I still need to use. So these are basically just like giant to-do shelves. So putting the carpet table right here, it made a ton of sense, also considering the fact that the 2 workbenches that I had to figure out what the hell to do with were already right over here. Now originally behind these 2 shelves I had right here were actually 2 shelves that I housed all of my handhelds on. I also housed all of my sealed amiibo, and just a bunch of games and stuff that, you know, I really have a lot of fondness for. But doing this, I've decided to take all of that stuff and kind of spread it around to their own new areas. So right over here, I decided to make this just like a sealed amiibo shelf, which actually turned out pretty damn nice. I say that as if I really did anything other than put toys on shelves, but I really do like the look of them right here, and there's space to grow. I can put all kinds of other little trinkets down there. Currently, I have another one of these very tall shelves right over here, and I was thinking about grabbing more bins to just kind of spread my handhelds out a lot more. Yeah, this is how I store my handhelds, just because I mean, it's easy. I can just immediately grab whatever I want here, but potentially I could maybe get some more bins, put more of these shelves up here, and have, oh, Game Boy models, Game Boy Color models, Game Boy Advance models, SP models, so on and so on. But this right here is one of the fancy new additions. I got a display cabinet. I actually got one of these for my home office because I found it online and I thought it was like super nice looking. And then I saw this one with kind of the lighter finish was actually on 50% off clearance mode, and I was like, fuck, I gotta get this for downstairs. And yeah, I'm happy that I did. I was initially thinking about getting 2, and the original idea was to put 2 of them right there, and then actually take these 2 shelves and make another new wall of shelves right here. Overall, I'm happy that I didn't do that. There's only so many walls of shelves I can create until it becomes a nightmare to traverse any place down here. In terms of the stuff that's in here, this is definitely a huge work in progress. That's why everything is kind of disheveled in here. But a lot of the games that are in here, like, these are just some of my favorite game boxes and games throughout like my life. These aren't all of them. These are just some of the game boxes that I think would be fun to display because I have a lot of love for these games in particular, but there are a lot of other games that I'm gonna put in here. I realized, oh my God, I needed to display the Famicom mini box set. I originally talked about this in the Classic NES series episode of Scott The Woz, but these were like some of my most wanted gaming collectibles, and for them to just kind of sit on like my shelf without being displayed like this, bleh, it was a crime. I'm finally starting to display my amiibo. I've never been that into displaying my amiibo figures, but I thought, you know, I have all this stuff. I spent all this time and money collecting all these damn things, and I like the look of them overall, yes. And them with the stand that I bought for them off of Etsy fit perfectly in the display unit. So I actually decided to paint my shelves. I just did kind of a crappy spray paint. As you can see, I just realized, yep, I missed that portion, but I wanted something other than like the basic wood that I originally had with it for, you know, so long there. And yeah, you know what? Overall, I'm content. I end up putting this in the corner because actually something that I'm planning on doing is actually creating a bit of a new retro corner, kind of a modern retro corner. This love seat was the couch that I bought for my apartment back in 2018 when I moved into that one. I think this was a love seat I got on clearance, and it's always been an incredibly comfy guy. I don't really see any end in sight for it. It's maintained itself pretty damn well. But moving stuff around, this love seat used to be right here with my desk right here, so then if anybody would come down, they could like sit right next to me or something. But now with the desk on, I had to figure out what I would do with it. But then I really realized one of my favorite things that I own that I just never really had like an actual spot for was the PlayStation 3D TV. I always wanted this thing. Ever since Sony announced it, I remember seeing it on Amazon all the time, and I finally got it for that 3D gaming episode of Scott The Woz. But ever since, it's just kind of been in storage because I really haven't had a spot for it. But then I got the idea, damn it, a second retro corner. Initially, I was thinking I would end up moving these 2 shelves and make a, guess what, another fucking shelf wall, and put the modern retro corner right here, like get a TV stand and everything, and then, you know, this couch, you could either go on the CRT or you could go on the PlayStation TV. But when I was getting all this set up, I kind of realized this area right here would be the perfect spot for this. So what do I mean by modern retro? I mean 7th gen stuff. I want to hook up an original Xbox 360 with the HD DVD drive, the fat model PS3, and I want to get my red Wii set up here. I really want to get the red Wii set up there. Of course, I don't have the TV stand in. It should be delivered in the next like 2 weeks or so. Now, originally the gaming PC was set up right over here, but now I have moved it right over here. Still got to plug some stuff up with this, but I think this being here makes a lot of sense because if I would ever want to capture gameplay with my, you know, capture setup, it would be a lot easier to just string a very long HDMI cable right over there. Like, there was a time when we were recording big rigs on the PC, and like I pretty much had to unplug my entire PC, replug it in over here, and get everything set up just to record like a PC game, and we can see the TV and play it on the couch and all of that. So I do think this will make a lot more sense. But that brings us to one of the final major changes. That's actually kind of the Scott Stash recording setup right now. Well, for particular types of Scott Stash videos, I find that more opinionated videos that I want to do on Scott Stash, it makes a lot of sense to be able to record that with my face on camera and also be able to view a screen if I want to, so then I can research some stuff on the fly if I'm not sure about something. This iMac was one of the iMacs that I had at the office. Originally, I bought all of the guys kind of spec'd out iMac desktop computers for their editing, and these did the job for quite a long time. However, over the years, it was obvious that like an upgrade was needed. So I upgraded Sam to a Mac Studio. I upgraded Dominic and Justin over to Mac Minis. And that left a lot of old iMacs that we just didn't really have a ton of use for. But now that I have my main editing computer upstairs and I still want to record stuff down here, this makes a lot of sense. I set it up so then I have this Elgato key light over here, which just makes it pretty easy to immediately just get like a decent lighting source. Then I have an extra older light that I'm using right there. You might be able to see in some of the videos that I've recorded with this setup, the lighting's a little all over the place. I'm still figuring stuff out. But I moved this desk here a while ago. This was my original editing desk that I had down here over there before I moved on to the Husky Workbench lifestyle. Then I moved this over here and I used it primarily for storage, filming some stuff. But now I've settled on this and I really like this. It makes it really easy to immediately start recording. That plant used to be back there, and that plant I originally bought when I turned my garage into like that cemetery for the Gaming Revivals episode of Scott The Woz. That was a fucking mess. I just put that there for now. That's temporary. I definitely kind of want to push it a little more into the corner, but yeah, that's there for now. I still have this little camera gear that I have. This is a Rhino Arc 2, and it was a pretty hefty investment, but it's a really cool piece of kit here. Definitely helps with smoother panning shots. When you plug it in, you can move it around with this joystick. It does a lot of other stuff too, but this is primarily where I use it. And thankfully, it stays pretty out of the way of everything else over here. But I just have one of my cameras set up at all times, and then I have an iPad right here to help me do some remote control shooting on this camera so then I can keep myself in focus. And I kept the promise. I'll talk about the storage bins. I ordered these on Amazon, and they were a lot taller than I was expecting them to be. Okay. But I ended up putting a lot of the stuff from the other shelf like this that was kind of like all those extra pieces of filming equipment or what have you. I ended up putting a lot of that stuff in here. So a lot of the fake blood, I got bald caps, makeup remover. I have some old cameras and accessories for those in there and extra microphones. I've been kind of chipping away at organizing a bunch of stuff that I might need down here. And yeah, this is definitely all a work in progress. I'm gonna figure some more stuff out and also what exactly is in all these bins. I do like labeling all this stuff. In this one closet, I do label all of these wires. I fucking love label makers. All right, that's the end of that. But hey, I don't lie. I'm a man of my word.
Thank you again to Groons for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out via the link below.